Between 1841 and 1869, more than 300,000 pioneers traveled west along the Oregon Trail, hoping for a better life in the vast, unsettled territories of the American West. Among them were tens of thousands of women who have often been overlooked in historical accounts. While some sources claim that women's primary role on the trail was to cook and care for children, this couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, pioneer women were integral to the success of their wagon trains, contributing significantly to their survival and well-being. In today's video, we will be exploring the struggles and triumphs of these remarkable women as we journey along the Oregon Trail and discover what life was like for pioneer women traveling west. Imagine yourself in the year 1850. You are a young woman named Sarah Royce Kimball, living in a small town in Illinois with your husband and 2 young children. 4 months now, you've been listening to stories from returning missionaries and mountain men about the fertile lands and abundant wildlife of the Oregon Territory. With dreams of a better life for your family, you have made the difficult decision to leave everything familiar behind and join the thousands of settlers heading west along the Oregon Trail. The journey is long and arduous, lasting over 6 months and covering a distance of nearly 2,000 miles. But Sarah, like many other pioneer women, is determined to make the best of her circumstances. She understands that she will be responsible for much of the cooking and housework, but she also knows that she must pull her weight if the family is to survive the journey. Along with her husband and 2 young children, Sarah and her family joined one of the largest wagon trains of the 1850s, numbering over 1,000 wagons and 3,000 pioneers. With so many people traveling together, there is safety in numbers. Sarah's husband, John, knows that the journey will be safer with so many families looking out for one another. As the wagon train begins its trek west, Sarah finds herself playing a crucial role in keeping everyone fed and cared for. Each morning, she wakes up before sunrise and immediately begins preparing breakfast for her family. Her husband and children are eager to start their day, so she must work quickly to get them fed and on their way. She cooks over an open fire using supplies that they brought with them from home. Meals consist of simple but nourishing foods, such as dried meat, beans, and flour. Sometimes the family is lucky enough to catch fish or gather wild berries, which add variety to their diet. Throughout the day, Sarah's work continues. She tends to the needs of her children, making sure they are clean and well taken care of. At the same time, she keeps an eye on the wagon train's progress. Life on the trail is not without its challenges, and Sarah must remain vigilant. She knows that her family and the other settlers are dependent on her to keep their spirits high and their bodies nourished. As the sun begins to set, Sarah's work is not yet done. She helps her husband and neighbors prepare for the night, setting up camp and tending to the animals. Once the campfire is going, she gathers with the other women to share stories and songs, finding comfort in the company of others. Despite the hardships they face, the women on the trail form close bonds with each other, relying on each other for support and encouragement. They help each other with cooking, childcare, and offer emotional support. When the journey becomes particularly challenging, together they face the darkness and the dangers of the trail, finding strength in their shared experiences and resilience. As the weeks turn into months, Sarah's resolve and strength continue to grow. She has faced countless challenges on the trail, but she has persevered. She has learned to rely on her own abilities and the kindness of her fellow pioneers. As they finally approach their destination, Sarah feels a sense of pride and accomplishment knowing that she has played a vital role in her family's survival. Sarah's story is just one of thousands that could be told about the pioneer women who traveled west along the Oregon Trail. These women were not just passive participants in their own journeys, but active contributors to the success of their wagon trains. Their resilience, strength, and determination allowed them to overcome countless obstacles and reach their destinations. When discussing the role of women on the Oregon Trail, it is essential to move beyond the stereotypical image of them solely as homemakers. While cooking and taking care of children were important aspects of their lives on the trail, they were far from the only things these women did. Pioneer women were integral members of their wagon trains, contributing in various ways to their survival and well-being. Driving the wagons was a task that required strength, skill, and endurance. Women were often in charge of the teams of oxen or horses that pulled the heavy wagons loaded with supplies and possessions. They learned how to handle the animals, navigate difficult terrain, and maintain the wagons, ensuring they remained in good condition throughout the journey. The importance of women in this area cannot be overstated, as the success of the wagon train depended on their ability to keep the wagons moving. When the men were busy hunting or making repairs, the women took over the reins and drove the wagons to their next stopping point. Another critical task for pioneer women was hunting and gathering. While men typically went on larger hunting expeditions, women were responsible for gathering wild foods such as berries, herbs, and edible plants. They had a deep knowledge of the land and its resources and knew where to find sustenance for their families. This skill was crucial during times of scarcity when supplies ran low and the wagon train had not yet reached an area where they could replenish their food stores. Women were able to supplement their diets and ensure their families had enough to eat. Medical care was another area where pioneer women's skills and knowledge were essential. Many women were trained in herbal medicine and other healing practices and used their skills to treat illnesses and injuries that occurred on the trail. They prepared remedies using plants and herbs. They gathered and provided care for those who were sick or wounded. Women's intuition and nurturing qualities made them well suited for this role, and they were often called upon to help deliver babies as well. Midwifery was an important part of many pioneer women's lives, and they assisted in the births of many children along the trail. They provided not only medical care, but also emotional support to both the mothers and families during this significant time. Maintaining morale was also an important part of the pioneer women's roles. They organized social events and gatherings to lift the spirits of the community and create a sense of normalcy. Women provided emotional support to those who were struggling and helped create a positive atmosphere within the wagon train. This was crucial for the overall well-being of the community and contributed to the success of the journey. Finally, pioneer women were not just passive participants in their own journeys. They actively worked to protect themselves and their communities. When danger threatened, women were prepared to defend themselves and their families. They carried weapons such as guns and knives and were willing to fight back against attackers. In addition, they participated in the daily tasks necessary for the survival of the community, such as building shelters and gathering resources, showing their strength and resilience. It is important to remember that pioneer women were not a homogeneous group, and their experiences on the trail varied widely, depending on factors such as age, race, and social class. However, their shared experiences of hardship, resilience, and determination to succeed in the face of adversity provide an inspiring example of the strength and capabilities of women during this era. One way to gain insight into the lives of pioneer women on the Oregon Trail is by examining primary source documentation, such as journals and letters written by women who traveled west. These first-hand accounts provide a unique perspective on the challenges and triumphs these women experienced and offer a glimpse into their everyday lives on the trail. For example, the Journal of Pioneer Woman, Mary Ann Freeman, provides a detailed account of her journey along the Oregon Trail in 1848. Her writings describe not only the physical hardships endured during the trek, but also the emotional toll it took on her and her family. Through her journal entries, we can see how women like Mary Ann used their skills and resilience to overcome the challenges they faced and contribute to the success of their wagon train. Another valuable resource for understanding the role of women on the Oregon Trail is the collection of letters written by Sarah Royce Kimball to her brother while traveling on the trail in 1850. Sarah's letters provide a personal and intimate view of her experiences as a wife and mother on the Oregon Trail. She discusses the difficulties of maintaining a household while living out of a wagon and the importance of the community of women she found on the trail. By exploring primary source materials like these, we gain a deeper appreciation for the contributions and resilience of pioneer women on the Oregon Trail. Their stories offer a powerful testament to the strength and determination of women during this era and challenge us to reconsider the traditional narratives that often overlook their vital roles in westward expansion.